Hello everyone. In this video, I will try to explain what is Youth Exchange, Erasmus Plus Youth Exchange, and how the participants are selected. Let's start. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. This is Mehmet Yetinkaya speaking. I'm from Turkey, Istanbul. I'm the president and founder of Youth Work Association, and I have been in the several similar positions in different organizations. As you see on the screen, I'm involved in the youth field since 2005, and why I'm telling you this because in this video I'm going to give you tips on my own personal experiences. So it's nothing that I collected. I'll be just sharing my own thoughts and my own ways. How do I select participants for youth exchanges? So before we start, let's explain what is Youth Exchange. Youth Exchange is a program under Erasmus Plus program of European Union. Minimum 2 countries are coming together, and minimum 16 and maximum 60 participants are coming together. These participants should be between 13 to 30 age, and depending on the group range, if your project, when you are writing the project, you can also specify a little bit more. For example, you can organize projects for those who are between 13 to 17, or 18-25, or 18-30, and of course plus leaders who doesn't have age limit. And the projects usually takes place around 1 week, 10 days, but minimum it has to be 5 days plus traveling, and maximum 21 days. And yeah, as I said, it's under the Erasmus Plus program, and there is no language requirement in this program. But still, in some projects, participants are meant to act and interact with other participants. So sometimes they are asking basic, at least English requirement. And the program covers travel, food, accommodation, visa if required, local transportation during the project, and activity costs plus insurance. And the only thing is not covered is the passport, because it's a personal document. How the projects are designed. So there is a sample structure of a youth exchange. For example, uh, I just made up this project. There is no project like this. Maybe there is, but uh, let's imagine there is a project in Spain, and the participants are coming from Turkey, Germany, Italy, and Poland, and 6 participants per country plus 1 leader. In this situation, Spain is the host organization, and other 4 countries are sending organization, and it's a project implemented by 5 countries and 5 organizations from those 5 countries. And for example, here they say like participants between 18 to 25. If you remember, I was telling that participants should be between 13 to 30, but in this project they specify that it's 18 to 25, so it means that your most participants has to be from this age. You cannot accept from other groups, but of course for the leader there is no age limit. When the participants are selected, okay, in the nature of youth exchanges, it should be actually when you're writing the project, when you are filling the application form, you should be already having the participants selected, which means the projects are like designed by young people. So this is how the idea of youth exchanges actually. But in fact, in de facto, it's different. Usually, youth organizations, youth leaders are writing the project, and when the project is approved, before the activity starts, they make an open call, or they just made an internal call in their organization, and they select their participants. Who are eligible participants? Yeah, again, here there is a difference between implementation and the reality. For example, it usually should be the participants from the organizations, like hosting or sending organizations, members, volunteers, or young people, or the target group of sending organizations or hosting organizations. But usually, of course, organizations are including participants from this group above, but also they are making open call to public, and anyone interested are able to apply, and they are being selected from these applications. And about the leader, who can be leader, how they are selected. Again, it should be active youth leaders of the host and descending organizations, which means these youth leaders are meant to implement this project, run the activities. Because, as I said in the beginning, the nature of youth exchanges is a kind of project that it is designed by the participants already, which means like even before the project exists, organizations and the participants are selected. They know each other. They come together and they write the project together. They design activities, and the leaders lead the process. And these leaders who are the one managing their own teams in the organizations or in youth groups are also the facilitators or trainers, however you call them, of the project. And because of the situation that they are kind of a bridge between young people and the other organizations, young people, so they should be English speaking people. But usually there is a big mistake, which is quite a lot done in Turkey. They are just selecting some random person who speaks English. That's a big mistake, because when they come, they don't know what is youth exchange, what is Erasmus Plus, what is this project is about. They just try to translate things. But as I said, in the nature of youth exchanges, it has to be already designed by young people, and these young people should be selected before even writing the application form. So in this kind of situation, even if you don't have something like this, that you didn't design the project altogether, but still you are responsible to select someone who knows at least what is Erasmus Plus, what is youth exchanges, how to run activities, what is informal, non-formal learning, how to adopt them to the activities you are implementing in this project, and how to design the learning outcomes of the project, and how to include participants in the like actively in the process of implementation, and also being bridge between the organizations and the partners. So it's kind of like needs development in the field. How we do in youth orchestration, our participant selection criteria has actually these four main criteria. We usually check if the topic of the youth exchanges is matching with the candidate's interest. For example, if the topic is related to health, let's say on diet and something, so we prefer to select someone, for example, from a university, someone who is studying on nutrition, for example. Or if the project is related with human rights, I don't know, advocacy, we are trying to select someone who are already like volunteering on that topic, or studying law or something like this, like related to topic, you know. The second thing is the motivation of the candidate. Although we are all speaking about motivation every day, I still think that the motivation word itself is not very well understood in Turkey, at least by the young people. Because when you ask them what is your motivation to apply this project, they I don't know, they just try to copy something from somewhere, asking some other people, or just paraphrasing what we write. But the motivation actually is, I mean, it's something you write down to explain why do you want to be part of this project, like what is your expectation from this project. So if your expectation matches with the project content and the promised outcomes, uh, that's how we select participants. I mean, if the participant says that I want to go abroad, this is my motivation, yes, it's a motivation, but everybody wants to go abroad, and nobody wants to pay ticket, nobody wants to pay for accommodation, everybody wants to make new friends and stuff, yes. But what is your motivation, especially from this project? That's important part, what we are focusing mostly. So it's always nice to check what is the topic, at least to try to understand what it is promising, what are the goals of the project, what it is promising to give you in the end, what are the expected learning outcomes. If they are matching with your motivation, we suggest you to apply. Otherwise, it's just like a touristic trip to abroad. Okay, the next thing we are focusing on is candidates' situation, if they are fewer opportunity, like young people with the fewer opportunities. When we talk about this, it's also not very well understood by the young people. They usually ask, what do you mean by fewer opportunities? I think it's also responsibility of the organizations to explain it a little bit more, maybe. For example, when we are writing a project call on the website that we are sharing, we also explain what is the young people, what we mean of when we are saying young people with fewer opportunities. We usually explain it with the economical difficulties or social difficulties or disabilities or geographical difficulties or learning obstacles or whatever is related to this situation. We are explaining it, and plus we are also indicating in the call saying that we most probably will select people who have never been abroad. So I mean, this is the most important priority we give to young people. It's always nice to try someone new in different projects, but again, young people are thinking that usually, I mean, if they have been in part of, I don't know, 50 projects, they are sure that they are going to be selected next time again. Yes, it might be a selection criteria for the leaders, but not for the participants, for me or for my organization at least, when selecting the participants. So that's important. And the last thing that we are focusing on is the past experiences on volunteering of the candidates. For example, if a candidate knows what is volunteering, if they have some experiences, they have done some volunteering work at their, I don't know, even in the student club, in their local youth house, or in an organization, not even related to youth work, but anything with volunteering. So that's always easier for us to integrate these people instead of just integrating someone might be most probably a tourist or just want to go somewhere, I don't know, in Spain or Italy or United Kingdom, or someone just trying to get away from Turkey. So that's why we also check what is the experience on volunteering of the candidate, and most of the times we also ask them their references. For example, if they say that I've been volunteering in youth work association, I'm asking them who you were working with. So I'm trying to get in touch with those people and asking them that this guy or this girl were really working with you. So how would you suggest me this person, or would you suggest at least? So that's also a way to select participants and give them some priorities or put them in the less priority list. And if required by the hosting organization, we have also like candidates language ability. As I said in the beginning, this program doesn't require any language abilities, but if the project is very much related with discussions or ongoing chats and contribution by the participants, and it will be very difficult for leaders to translate everything. So we are trying to select someone at least with the A2 or A1 language abilities, at least in English. That's also important for young person to I don't know, like encourage themselves, because once we just send someone to Poland, for example, it's usually the tickets to Poland are very expensive. So participants has to take a flight from Istanbul to Prague, for example, and from Prague they have to take a metro, subway, and blah blah to go to train station and take a train to Poland and maybe change to bus and staying overnight in some countries, and even sometimes it's a very big country, Turkey. So people has to take also domestic flights in Turkey, and the participants, if they don't speak English, at least to explain why they are going to this country, because they are going to be asked in the border. Why did you come to Poland, for example? So that person should be able to explain that there is a project, it's about Erasmus Plus, and I'll be staying here 7 days. This is the address, and this is my return ticket, this is my insurance, and blah blah. So this is like it's not a language requirement. I think it's something that mandatory. I mean, of course, we are also sending them with the leaders most of the times, and these leaders are able to translate for them even in the border. But sometimes I have been facing many situations that at the border, police is asking to participants, "Why did you come?" And I try to explain, and they say, "Stop! I didn't ask you. I asked this person." So that's why it's kind of like tricky. It's nice to select someone also who have at least basic language experiences. That's why I put it here as well. And if the candidate's special talent is asked by the hosting organization, we are also checking that. For example, if the project is about, I know, about disability, we try to select someone who have this disability. Of course, we are checking with the hosting organization if they are able to handle with this situation and these kind of things. For example, there is an organization in Berlin that we are very much sending participants. It's a circus basically, so they need someone to make these acrobatic movements and stuff, which I'm totally not able to. So we of course have to select someone who are able to do these activities, like, or if it's a sport activity requiring to walk like 10 kilometers every day, so we try to select someone athletic that can adapt to the situation or handle at least. So this is like how we usually put our selection criteria. That's a question came from Instagram actually. People were asking like, how do I increase my chances of being selected to the project? I try to explain each person like very clearly, but here I also I wrote some tips. So the first thing is of course being member or volunteer of the organizations that are in your city. For example, it doesn't have to be a youth organization, but being a member or volunteer of any kind of organization. I mean, generally, volunteering is kind of like very important here. In the second point, I also put here increasing volunteering experiences in general. So, and also specifically working something on youth will give you, of course, some advantages. So people, at least in the youth field, will hear about you and they say that, yeah, this guy or this girl or this person is kind of like suitable, adaptable to these projects. So you can just maybe give a priority. The next thing is increasing the foreign language level. As I said already in the beginning, of course, the program doesn't ask you to speak English or any other languages. But again, if someone asks you at the border, why did you come to Czech Republic? So you have to be able to explain why you are there and when you are going back. So otherwise, it's most probably you are going to be deported and your visa might be cancelled. That's even worse than not being able to select it, you know. So that's why increasing foreign language level is kind of like increases your chances to be selected. The next thing I would like to say is following youth organizations in the other cities, not only in your city, in the national level on social media. For example, you can just make a Google search like with the keyword saying that youth exchanges star and blah blah association, and you will see all the organizations are listed and have this keyword in their website, so you can just go and click their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and just try to follow them. And if possible, you can also get in touch with them, ask them, do you organize these kind of projects? How are you publishing your calls? Do you have a mailing list, or how can I apply to projects at least, or can I volunteer for your organization? Even if you are not in that city, you can still ask them that, can I help you with, I don't know, with the translation or with the social media or with design, whatever you can offer. I mean, this is kind of like win-win situation. If someone is offering something to my organization saying that, can I help you with the YouTube channel of the organization? Of course, who wouldn't? I mean, I would say yes. Then, of course, then the next time when there's a project, this person says that, can I go to this project? This person is part of my organization now. Of course, I'll give the priority to this person. So this is kind of like important trick that you can also try. And the next thing I would say is developing yourself about European Union projects in general, also specifically on the youth projects. So if you know what is at least Erasmus Plus, what is youth programs, what is youth exchange, what is youth workers mobility, at least to know what does youth work mean, for example. So these kind of things also will give you some chances at least to make a Google search or to understand the language people are speaking. And the next thing is, of course, it's always holding a good Europass CV and a letter of motivation letter, specifically designed for the project where you are applying. So if you apply with a good Europass CV, and there is a video I'm going to share with you here, I think, or here, I know, you will see a link somewhere. And there is a tip about how to create your Europass CV in English. So that's another video of mine you can watch. And about the letter of motivation or motivation letter, in the other way of saying, uh, you should be well explaining why do you want to go this project. So letter of motivation is kind of like you write it every time when you are applying a project. It's not something that you copy paste to all the projects, but you should be like writing it from the beginning. Just think about it like when you are going to I don't know, seaside in the weekend, you have a different pack. Yes. When you are going to business trip, you have a different pack. You cannot use the same pack for the different kind of trips. So it's kind of the same. Like when you are applying a project, you of course have to prepare something else for different means. So also for the CV, I mean, most people just say it for the motivation letter, but I would also suggest you for the Europass CV when you're applying a project. If it's a different project, I know related to environment, I would put things related to environment in my CV. If it's related with, I know, with the women's studies, I would put the things related with the women's studies. So that's why it's like motivation letter and CVs are kind of like key elements that you use when you're applying to projects. The next thing is where to find projects. Yeah, I already give you some tips, but here I put several more tips. There is a website called WPOolNet, which is our organization is running. There are 25,000 of volunteers. It's also a way to find a volunteer, not only finding an organization and project, but also finding volunteers because the website is actually functioning kind of like job application website. The volunteers are going and creating their CVs, organizations are going and creating their profiles, and they are searching for each other. And also, organizations are sharing their vacancies, and participants are able to apply through the website. It's like a job application website, you know. And there are many Facebook groups related to Erasmus Plus, Erasmus Plus Youth Exchanges, Erasmus Plus Youth Projects, Erasmus Plus Partnership, Erasmus Plus Calls, Erasmus Plus Opportunities, and many others. Just type random keywords related to topic in Facebook. You'll find many pages and just subscribe them. I mean, when there's a project published, you will see the link. You just give it a try and maybe you are selected. So I mean, if you don't look for the project, you of course cannot find it. So the key point here is to be everywhere. If you want to be part of projects, you have to follow every single channel that people are posting projects. The next thing is following youth organization, which I already told you. So just make a little Google search on in your country and just see which organizations are doing this kind of projects. So just follow them on I don't know, social media on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, whatever you use. Or also, if it's possible, just call them, ask them if they have a mailing list, just ask them to be in it and these kind of things. Next, here I created an example participant selection simulation for you. I mean, it's a very good example, which is a project of our partner organization from Croatia. We were sending organization. We just implemented this project in January 2020, 13 to 23 in Fuzina in Croatia. So this is the poster of the project in Turkish we published, and I'll show you some screenshots from the info pack, so you will understand how we are perceiving the information from hosting organization and where do we put it and what kind of criteria we are running when we are selecting participants. So here, for example, Say No to Discrimination is the name of the project. It's going to be a youth exchange organized in Fizuna in Croatia, which will include 35 young people and 7 youth group leaders from 7 different countries: Germany, Spain, Turkey, Lithuania, Greece, Romania, and Croatia. So these are the countries, which means here, like, there are 7 people, like leaders, and 35. So 7 plus 1, so 8 person per country. We have to select people. So, no, sorry. 5 participants, 1 group leader. We have to select from Turkey. Age of the participants, as you see, 18 to 30, so you can choose anyone. And group leaders has to be 18 plus, and there is no age limit. And we have to select 5 people between 18 to 30 and 1 leader, no age limit. It can even be in the same age, but it has to be someone be able to bridge between the participants and the other organizations and who are able to run these activities. If you remember my explanation about who can be leader. The place is written there and the venue, a group house, private accommodation. So these information are important when you are applying, so you know where is the project is going to take place. And the days of the activities, including travel days, they put the date on the 13th of January, participants will arrive to the venue, and the 23rd of January, participants will depart to their home. So the main goals of the project are it's actually starting from here. For example, when you are applying a project, you see something like this usually. It says like very clear and basic information. As you see, there is no criteria, nothing written. But what you should check as a participant, how many participants they are selecting? 5. Okay, I have a big chance to be approved. Is the age of participants is like applying to me? Am I between 18 to 30? If yes, apply. If not, don't even try. If the dates 13th January to 23 January is okay for me, because if I have an exam between these days, I will not be able to go. If my workplace will not allow me to go abroad in these days, you don't have to apply. I mean, you just need to check this basic stuff before you apply. We faced this situation many times. We received, for example, 50 applications for a youth exchange. I called 10 people and they say like, I have an exam, I have a school, I cannot get away from work, and these kind of things. Like, if the date, that's the most important, is not fitting to your schedule, don't apply. It's your time you're wasting while applying, and also it's the time of the coordinators that they are evaluating your application. Okay. Next thing, the main goal of the project area. As you see, this is a project about combating hate speech and combating discrimination and some other details. So basically, it has to be like as I said in the criteria that we are running. So the person should be related to this topic. If this topic is nothing related to you or it doesn't mean anything, don't apply. I mean, if you are interested with the combating hate speech or learning what is youth activism or discussing about bias approach, anti-bias approach, so that's a place you should apply. I mean, if you have nothing to do with these things, or even you can be someone that is totally relevant to this topic, but you don't have an interest, again, don't apply. If you have an interest, explain this. I don't know anything about youth activism. I don't know anything about, I don't know, anti-bias or what is bias. But you can explain this in the application form and say that, yes, I am interested to learn because blah, blah, blah. At least make some research online. I mean, Google is free, it's out there. You just go there and type what is youth activism, what is anti-bias approach, or what is stereotype, what is prejudice, what is discrimination, or what is hate speech, how to combat hate speech. At least make this research for 10 minutes. I mean, we are all the citizens of digital age, you know, so you can just access any information online for free. So just make this research and decide if it is relevant to you or not. If so, just go for the next part. As I said, with this participants profile, it says like between 18 to 30. If you are not in this age limit, you don't even have to apply because you will not be selected, directly deleted. Your application will not be even considered. So previous experience in the theater or filming is not required, but participants should show initiative for learning new things and working with other young people. So this is another thing that they actually give in the info pack as information. They say like, you don't have to have experience on filming or theater, but we expect you to act. So if you are a shy person, or you hate theater, or you hate role playing, or you hate filming, or you don't want to be involved in this kind of situation, so don't apply. I mean, again, saying that if the participant's profile is matching to you, then apply. You are welcome to apply. If it's nothing to do with you, you don't have to do so. So there is another note for the organization saying that when you are selecting 6 people, please make like gender balance between the group members. Here there is another very good point, which is about the venue. For example, in this project, they say we will be accommodated in the Fizunarska Kuća, a group house in Fizuna, a small town that is 2 hours away from Zagreb. So it's a small town. I mean, you should be knowing that where you are going. You are not going to Zagreb. You are not going to a big city. It's a small town, okay? And the accommodation will be simple. So, which means like there is no luxury life, okay? Participants will share rooms with 3-4 people. So if you are uncomfortable with staying in the same room with 4 people, so don't apply. I mean, it's not a touristic trip that will provide you a single room in a king size bed or anything. So the facilities in youth exchanges are like very simple, basic, but it's fundamental. So that's why when you are applying to a project, you should be knowing that where you are going to be accommodated, and if you like what the city, if you like the place, if you like the organization, if you like the topic, then apply. And every room has a private toilet and shower. For example, this is an important detail. I'm really appreciating this hosting organization is giving very good details. For example, this is not written in some of the projects info pack. You just don't know where you are going. You just go there and there are 30 people in a youth exchange and only one toilet, for example. This is also another problem. I mean, it's not only you don't read, but also organizations are providing lack of information. This is another problem. So that's why when applying a project, you can also check this kind of details, because I know that you all want to go abroad, but I also know that you will be very sad if you go in a very bad conditions. I mean, you should be knowing all the conditions. Knowing them in advance actually makes you also prepare yourself for the worst. I mean, if you know that there is a one toilet for 30 people, it's okay for you to go, then go. If you don't know that there is a one toilet for 30 people and you just go and get a shock, that's a big problem, because it's a very big pain for you and for the organizations to spend this 8, 10, or 12, sometimes 20 days together. And the next topic here about the travel to Croatia and other important information. As you see here, it's not allowed to come to the venue of the training one day or one day later, or to leave one day before the designated dates. This is another problem we face a lot. Young people are applying to project. We say that this is the date, okay, 13 to 23, and they just say, I applied to this project, but I have an exam on 23. So can I come back on 22 if it is finishing in 22 evening? We say no, this is the project, the departure day and the arrival day is this. So if it fits you, you come. If not, don't apply. Okay, there is many other people that can adopt themselves to this project. If this is not okay for you, apply to another project. Okay, this is not the last project, just make sure. And the next thing about the travel, there is a limit for each country. For example, for Turkey, for us in this situation, 275 euro per person for the round trip, which means the participants should buy their ticket from, for example, from Istanbul to Croatia. It has to be less than 275. If it is over, the program doesn't cover your travel expenses. And how they calculate it, it's a very long story. I explained it in another project, in another video, but just telling, like, there is always a limit calculated according to the kilometer, like the distance between sending and hosting organization. So if this limit is okay for you before apply, just check the websites. Maybe you find a very cheap ticket. For example, it's you can even find sometimes ticket with 20-30 euro, but sometimes the tickets are over 350 euro, which you need to pay extra than the limit. Okay, so also make sure that you are able to pay this. Another thing is, most of the time participants are required to buy their own tickets before the project, which means there's a project next month, I selected as participant, so I should buy my ticket, go there, introduce all my documents and come back. When the project is finished, they send me my money back, like the reimbursement. So it takes 3-4 months, for example. And if you are not able to give away this money for, I know, 3 months or sometimes 5-6 months, so you should also not apply, because 300 euro is a lot for a young person, I know. If your organization, the sending organization, is able to support you, yes, it's okay. But not every organization has this financial power, so not they cannot support everyone. That's another thing. Even if they have, for example, we have 50 projects in a year, and I cannot just buy the 250 people's ticket. It's impossible, and that's why we ask also participants to buy their ticket in advance, and they just get reimbursement after the projects from hosting organization, because the financial things are usually done by the hosting organization. It's actually every time done by the hosting organization, not usually. So we have nothing to do with the financial part of this project. So that's why participants should know that they buy their ticket, they go there, they come back. When the project is closed, they get their money. So it takes several months. Okay, so just make sure that you are able to handle with this. Okay. Our rules as standing organization, youth work association, for example, when we make a call, we also have some small added rules. For example, we use only WPOolNet for the applications, and we do not accept any applications via email, phone, or social media. Why I tell this? Because this is important. If you apply to a project that we are going to send participants any country via email, we will not consider your application. The phone, we will not consider. Social media, we will not consider. Only applications are accepted via WPOolNet, which means you should also know how to apply to project. If they ask you to send an email, send an email. If they ask you to call, you call. If they ask you to apply through a website or a form, Google form, you do that. But if you do something else than what they ask, so they will not even consider your application, even if your application is the best one. You are not even in the list. You should know how to apply to the project. Read the description, okay? That's important. And the only relevant participants will be selected: age, motivation, status of being a disadvantage, relevant to topic. These are the criteria that I was telling. If your age is not fitting to the project, we cannot select you. If your motivation is just to go abroad, we cannot select you. If you are not a disadvantaged young person, because this is a youth exchange project meant to include new disadvantaged young people, so we cannot select you. Or if you are not relevant to the topic of the training course or youth exchange, we are not going to select you. Participants will pay their ticket. I already told about this, so you have to wait like several months to get reimbursement from the hosting organization, so you should be able to handle this. And the next thing is, if you are selected and not responding emails more than 3 days, you will be replaced by backup participants. This is like a very usual thing we do in Turkey. Of course, we are giving them some extra 3 days, some another extra 3 days in fact, but this is, we are trying to keep on track, because some people are just applying randomly to all projects. You just send them, yeah, congrats, you are selected to this project. They just call you and ask which project was it. They don't even remember. So this kind of emails we are just ignoring. We are just replacing them with someone else, or they don't even reply. Which means it's going to be very difficult in the process of preparation. These participants, they are not replying your emails, they don't do the pre-work, they don't do the homework, they don't make any research, they don't make any preparation, they are not on time for applying visa, they are not on time by buying their tickets, or they are late to their planes, many other things. So that's why being on time, checking your emails regularly are very important, and etc, etc. If you have any questions from those what I was explaining to you, please, you can ask them in comment. And if you share this video with one person who might be interested, I will be very happy to also answer those questions from your friends. And the last one, of course, please subscribe my channel and open the notifications for the new videos. I'm trying to make 2 videos in Turkish and 2 videos in English every week. Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Central European time. I'm going to publish them as like this one. So if you subscribe and open notifications, you will be able to see also my next videos. Also, if you would like to take a look on my previous videos, please welcome to my channel anytime you like. And thanks for watching. If you want to contact me, I have my personal Twitter and Instagram on screen, you can see, and there is the organization that I am representing, Youth Work Association. You can also follow it on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And the last not the least is WPOol, Volunteers, Organizations and Projects Pool, which is a project of our organization. As I was explaining, it's kind of like an application website for organizations and volunteers, and bringing them together. And it's also in Turkish, English, Spanish, Italian, and French. So you can also use the website in your own language if you are speaking one of those languages, or basically in English. And also following its accounts on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, which we are sharing a lot new opportunities for young people abroad. So you can also maybe come across with a project that makes your dreams come true. Thanks for watching. This is all what I want to say today. So see you in the next videos. Bye bye.